Hey everybody, welcome back to the SOBs who love SOV. I am here with Slade Shepherd.
Hello again.
And we are joined again by the lovely Maddie Deering, who was here for our last episode.
Hi again.
Yeah, so we still are minus Tony Masiello. He just got married, I think it was, 2 days ago? So
I think so.
Insert SOV in the news. So our only SOV in the news that I know of really is that Tony Masiello got married.
Woo! Yay!
Congratulations,
Tony.
Right, Tony and Amanda.
Congratulations.
They looked adorable in their matching red Converse shoes. And
Yep. Hopefully they're having a great time and just relaxing and enjoying each other's company.
Yep.
Were they on a honeymoon?
I don't
somewhere.
I don't know if they were going on it right after or not. But yeah, they were going on a honeymoon. They were just going to travel, I think.
Good for them.
Yeah. Yes. Good for you guys. So we're going to get right into our movie. We have a lot to say about this one, I am sure. Today's movie is the 1988 SOV classic, Cannibal Campout. So directed by John McBride, who is a familiar name in the SOV realm. This is one of the movies that's on the big box set from the basement. I know we sound like we are just like Rapido people, but it's pretty awesome if you get your hands on it. I think it's got, 7 or 8 movies on it, and this is one of them. So what are your guys' experiences with Cannibal Campout? So, Maddie, I think you were the one who initially suggested this, weren't you?
I don't think so, but we can
No, because you wanted to do the other one. What did you decide it was called? Trash?
What? Trash Cans of Terror.
Okay, if anyone can find the movie Trash Cans of Terror for us, we want to do this movie. Please
Eternally
let us know
grateful.
where we can find it, or send it to one of us or something. But anyway, so going to Cannibal Campout, what are your memories or experiences with this movie prior to this watch?
I mean, I bought, video violence, Cannibal Campout, all that stuff, way back, I don't know, when I was first getting the SOV stuff, and Wood Chipper Massacre, so...
Okay.
I don't know, it was one of the first SOV movies I saw, and I really enjoyed it. It had been a while since I saw it, but, it's very... like something you and your friends can make.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that I this is going to sound terrible, but I always kind of saw this as more of a quote-unquote legit movie. Like, I'd rent this, or if I'd rent this, or I'd rent Video Violence, I kind of saw this as maybe more up there with, Sleepaway Camp. Like, in my, I don't know what budgets are, I don't know what, straight-to-video is, all that.
Or Mother's Day. I don't know. It reminds me of Mother's Day a lot for some reason.
Yeah, kind of that, the hillbilly thing kind of, or maybe even like Redneck Zombies, which, of course, is another SOV, but...
Exactly.
Oh, the song on the radio and at the end credits.
Oh, my God. So, Slade, what's your experience?
Oh, this one. This one was actually, this and Video Violence were two of the titles that got me into shot on video, and they were very prominent on our on the shelves at my local rental store. Like they always had the covers facing out on both it and Video Violence, because I mean, let's be honest, the cover is very, very memorable.
Right.
Yeah, it has absolutely fucking nothing to do with
the movie. Exactly. Yeah.
But
hey, that was a hallmark of the 1980s. Come on.
Yeah, and going back to what you were taking and saying about it being a serious movie, is I think they did a fantastic job with taking and making it like that. But supposedly, from what John McBride has said that in the past, is that this movie was kind of a goof. Him and his friends just got together and decided that they were just going to mess around and make a movie, and never expected worldwide distribution from this.
Yeah.
And that's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
you know?
and we'll get into the commentary, I'm sure, that basically the commentary of this is a little bit bare bones. It's just John McBride. Mark Polonia is just basically kind of asking him questions. They say he's the moderator, but I'm like, you can't really moderate if there's only one person. So he's more interviewing him. But yeah, there's some really kind of interesting things about how they made the movie and how it never really had a script. It was just basically, he said they would be like, okay, we can, these 5 people can get together on Saturday. So let me figure something out that we can all shoot that just involves these people. And he'd write something up and hand it to the people that day.
Yeah, it's astounding to me, just like with some of Todd's early work, where they're just taking and going out and just having fun and making a film. And could you imagine just making a film with some of your friends in the backyard, and then just like it's going to Japan and Germany and
that's basically what we've done with a spirit animal. I mean, the making of reminded me a lot of that. It's just me and my friends, when can we all get together and when can we film?
And then it just happened.
Maddie, when you take and do your Indiegogo, are you going to offer some of the masks as?
I'd like to screen used masks. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I want the German Shepherd.
That's like my favorite mask off Amazon.
Which, it was weird because in the trailer, I think I kind of looked away for a second and then looked back, and they were holding the mask and it had blood on it, and I thought they were holding a real German Shepherd's head with blood on it. I was like, what the hell?
When I first got that mask, I put it on like this old Pumbaa stuffed animal I've had since I was a kid, and I think I posted a picture online and someone thought it was a real dog. So It's a pretty realistic mask.
Yeah, I mean, the shark, the dingo, maybe not so much, but the dog, definitely.
The dog's one of the best.
Yeah.
And you just wrapped a bit of some of the shooting this week, right?
Yeah, actually our last day of shooting's this Saturday with most of the cast, so that's exciting.
Awesome. Stoked.
Yep, very much so.
Thank you. Me too.
Please let us know whenever that campaign goes live, so we can promote the shit out of it.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, with Cannibal, it's probably one of my fondest memories of SOV, because when I originally rented it, I think I rented it before any of the others, and when I watched it, I said, "What the fuck is this shit? What is this?" Because the video quality was different, but then as it went by, and I started to give the film a chance, I was like, "This is fucking wacky," and I'm really digging this.
And now I guess when I first picked this up, like, they are using, I figured they were using the trope of the weird ass hillbillies, the 2000 Maniacs kind of, really over the top hillbillies. But like, as it goes on, I'm like, no, they actually were really like, they had smart hillbillies in this one. Like, they weren't like just goofy and stupid. I really like the characters had some depth to this, like now watching it as I'm older. But I felt a little vindicated, because one of the things in the early part of the commentary that Mark Polonia said was, he's like, I felt like if this was shot on 16 millimeter and had a couple night shots, he's like, this could be a legit like Friday the 13th movie. Now, I wouldn't say Friday the 13th, but I would say like a legit like, kind of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like backwoodsy kind of thing.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, it's really got that feel, and I think they did an excellent job with having absolutely no lighting whatsoever, or no equipment except for. I think they even used, if I remember correctly, they used even the on camcorder audio.
Yes.
So, yeah. That's an achievement to take and get workable stuff with that. So.
Yeah, and it doesn't sound like they did any. Oh, okay, go ahead.
Too. Sorry, as we did for Spirit Animal, too. I'm sorry, some of those old cameras have really good audio, better than some of the new ones.
Well, because
no boom mic needed.
I mean, I would think they would need to, like, these days, like, if you think about it, you buy a TV, for example, And like the speakers that come on a TV now are absolute shit. You have to almost have something auxiliary. And I think that's the way a lot of stuff is now. And I think, but back then, people didn't buy a bunch of accessories. So things had to be a little bit, the audio and whatnot had to be a little bit more solid. So it would make sense. That's just my 2 cents. But.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for like any kind of exterior mics and stuff, that's all film.
Right, because
big film studios.
Well, but everything is so modular now. You know, you buy your camera, but then you have to buy the lenses, and then you buy the microphone. Nobody wants to buy like an all-in-one type thing, but back then, that's how everybody bought stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I've got a big SVHS recorder that actually used to belong to a news studio, and it's got really good audio on it. I've considered taking and playing around with it in the future. I'm not sure, but
you should.
It seems like a lot of fun. Like it could be a lot of fun, but I've got a couple ideas, but we'll see.
Well, I have an idea that I mentioned that all 3 of us, we need to at least make a short, is the thing I mistakenly called this last week, Cannibal Cookout.
Cannibal Cookout.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm down.
I can see so many possibilities for this. So, John McBride, who directed this and starred in it, he also was the director of Feeders. He was in Feeders too, right? Wood Chipper Massacre,
yes.
Another classic that we will end up getting around to. And he's a really good actor. I mean, he was very handsome. Like, I remember thinking he was really, really cute when I was young and watching this. Ooh, hi, John McBride.
Yeah, like a lot of this cast, they at least they weren't they didn't look like they were in their 30s playing like 19, 20 year olds.
Yeah, one of the benefits, of course, of doing a movie with your friends is that everybody is the same age and an appropriate age.
Exactly.
Now, I don't know about you guys, if you know about any of the other people that were in it. I don't really recognize any of the other people. I don't know if any of them went on to do anything else.
Not to my knowledge. Just John is the only memorable face to me.
Yeah, because even looking
I think they all just got attached to it somehow, just showed up, and they were like, all right, why not?
Yeah, and I think that's it. They were just people he knew, and they weren't in it for a movie. They were just in it just to mess around. Even the co-director, which he never even mentioned in the commentary, Tom Fisher, so maybe he didn't do a whole lot. Like, this is the only thing he did. So, there we go. But John McBride, in addition to directing, writing, starring in this, also created that wonderful song that Slade mentioned.
Yeah, I believe it's called If.
If, okay.
Which is, I thought that they should have fleshed it out a little bit more, but like, I guess that's fine.
I think it's perfect the way it is. I would own it on vinyl if I could.
It reminds me a little bit of like the Friday the 13th Part 4 when they're driving and doing like the one song we all used to sing, that country boy sitting in the grass. It kind of reminds me of that type of thing, except for the fact that it has, I found the lyrics, except for it kind of starts out, it plays itself as a straight song at first.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, unfortunately, we don't have the lyrics for this. Oh, man. Come on.
Damn it.
I know what we can do. We can take and we'll cut away and use the magic of power of editing.
If my brains were turning mush, you wouldn't want me. If I burned up in a firewood gas, if I swallowed nitric acid, would you help me? Or would you just think that I possess no class?
Now, something I thought that was really fun about that scene when they were driving in the van, if you notice, they kind of shot it from, like, inside of the van, they kind of shot it from the side, so, like, John was in the driver's seat, and then Amy was in, like, the seat right behind him, and they were, like, the only ones singing the song. Well, I guess that they were the only two in the van during any of those driving scenes.
Yeah.
You just had to take and cut away and add that audio.
It
I don't
works.
It does. It really does. So, like, I didn't realize it, and that's
neither.
the power of taking and having good planning and stuff. I guess with stuff like
Well,
that.
I won't say so much of planning, but creativity in this.
Yes, that's probably a better word there.
Hey, sometimes you have
They
to
all
work.
look so happy when he's singing too.
Yes,
Yes.
they're totally digging.
I don't know why.
They love that song. It's it's a top 10, hit at that point in time.
Yeah.
Taking and singing all happy, and
Yeah.
Rebecca
But-
getting all hot under the collar, seeing
That's
John
right,
in his big
John.
puffer vest.
But before that, we did have like the opening of a girl is going to go running. She's in a little cabin. Her mom's yelling for her, whatever, and she goes and runs, and she gets splattered. But apparently,
Redstone, a
Yes,
tranquil community.
yes, it's a tranquil community, and then blood splattered on it. I love that.
Oh Jesus Christ! This movie loves to throw Kira's like blood against surfaces. a
Yes.
lot.
Yeah. But really, like it's kind of cool because like she starts running. You've got this beautiful piano music, and then all of a sudden, it's like she gets on the road. It's like synthesizer music. Yeah, 1988. like, but I guess that is God. What did he say? His makeup artist's brother's wife. That's how
Yeah.
far-reaching these roles were.
I think I've got him listed as retard jet fighter helmet guy in my notes. Like, but because that's what Richard always like is calling him throughout the
Yeah,
entire
he
movie.
does
It's
call
like
him
the
retard a lot.
Yeah.
It's just such a odd choice for a mask. It's so
Yeah.
weird.
But it
It's
worked.
like-
It's like Harry Warden and Evil Knievel, you know?
But it's not just the helmet. It's the actual the breathing apparatus that's connected.
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah, the whole
So-
thing is a little odd, but it works. Like it does at first look like they went out to their garage and they were like, okay, grab that, put that on. Okay, we have a costume. But it works as the film goes on. And I mean, they're poor hillbillies. I mean, they're not going to have a lot of money to have some elaborate mask for their deformed brother.
Oh my god! I totally forgot about the opening scroll.
Wait.
Yeah.
I've got a picture of it.
I do
'Cause
too.
I didn't want to take and write it down because it's so
Okay.
long.
So yeah, as soon as the movie starts, before we see anything else, this is what it says. What you are about to see is based upon true accounts and conjecture and is a delineation of actual events which transpired at an indeterminate time to persons of less than genuinely equivocal authenticity.
That is the best based upon true events.
Based upon true events, but the people are fake.
it's just, oh my god, I love that. I'd totally forgotten about that too.
Somebody had their thesaurus out when they were writing that. Yeah.
Yes, very much so.
But now this was just like I said earlier. I did listen to some of the commentary, but I kind of got a little bored with some of it, so I sort of toggled back and forth. And when I listen to the commentary, I like to have the subtitles on so I can still kind of get what's going on in the movie. And I could not get the subtitles to go on for this. And unfortunately, on this DVD, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but like you can't toggle back and forth. Like you can't just turn the commentary on and off. Like every time you want to do one or the other, you have to go back to the main menu and it starts the movie over. Completely over.
Yes.
Which is
I didn't know that.
which is fine if you're 10 or 15 minutes into the movie, but like once you're in the third act, that's pretty freaking annoying. But
A lot of fast forwarding.
yeah. But yeah, luckily with DVDs it's easier. But the very first part is like set in a school. We're assuming, I guess, college, but it's part of it's college, part of it's high school. A high school, actually his high school, I guess. And I found this like interesting. So they had to reshoot. Shot the whole thing, and then there's too much wind. They were using the camera audio, and so they had to reshoot. And so when they reshot, they had to use his high school. But I mean, the fact that they didn't use any ADR in the whole thing, which I don't know, how common do you think ADR was in shot on video movies?
I would imagine very, very common, especially considering like wind and, you know, if they didn't have what do they call them, dead cats, like where they take and cover up the recorder on there. Yeah. Like I figured it'd be very, very common.
Right, because you also have all the times where you're watching a movie and the continuity sucks just within a scene because you've got the one person talking and there's like a train going by and then they show you the other person who's standing right next to them and there's absolutely no background noise. Yep.
Did you have any issues with that, with spirit animals, Maddie?
Oh, plenty. I mean, we're not going to have to do as much ADR as you'd think, but, I mean, we're going to have to do some. I mean, a lot of it can be fixed with music and, you know, ambience and stuff.
Right.
Are you going to pull any kung fu moves out with just totally out of sync ADR?
No, I don't plan to with this.
Oh man.
maybe some bloopers or something with it.
There's lots of bloopers.
So once they get to our main kids, the 4 main kids, which I can honestly say I didn't realize till the end credits that everybody in the movie, their name in the movie is their real name.
Their name. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I love it.
I'm like, how did I miss that? You know, whatever.
And you know that the scene at the college where it kind of takes and sets everything up. I really appreciated this because that's pretty much all you don't get a whole lot of useless background. You just kind of get right into the movie. The pacing's pretty good in this. I thought, anyway.
Yeah. It's like, here are your people. Let's go. Let's get in the car.
A weekend we'll never forget.
And that's what I was going to say. So between the very beginning, so we've got our 4 people. So John, Chris, Amy, and Carrie. And within the first 10 minutes of their segment, they say everything, every trope thing in a slasher movie. So, yeah, are you sure it's safe? Oh, there are 4 of us. What could possibly happen? Yeah, we're going to have a weekend we'll never forget. I mean, they say every single one of them.
You're going to Redstone. Isn't that where those, 4 people and their car was found with blood on it or luggage?
Well, okay, so that was what the one guy, the Ray guy, said, right? And I'm assuming it was supposed to be the family from the beginning, right? But then, later in the movie, when he's going out there to scare them, he makes it sound like he made it up, and it's like,
I know.
You can't have it both ways, there, buddy.
It was a lucky guess.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, the town's name, Redstone. Somebody died there, I'm sure.
There's got to be a serial killer somewhere in there.
Yes. But if we couldn't get any more 80s, Chris has to tell a dead baby joke.
Oh, Lord.
I love it. But of course, in the 80s also, in any horror movie, you can't tell a dead baby joke around a group of teenage girls because inevitably one of them will have had an abortion or is pregnant and there's going to be awkward silence, and we have that here.
Yes.
Yep.
And then we find out why later.
Mm-hmm. In a
Not
very
a big surprise.
No. It was kind of like you hear that dead baby joke and you see her face. It's like, oh, she's pregnant. That's
yep. Instantly.
You're preggers. But they do, okay, so they get to that road, and it's really narrow. It's like a really narrow dirt road, and we've got the slow car in front of them.
Oh, God.
And they start honking the horn, and this is, like, where we get our hillbillies. And I'm with you, Slade. Like, they don't fuck around in this movie. There's no, like, oh, then they see them later, blah, blah, blah. No, these fucking guys get out, get to their car, have a knife. I mean,
yeah, this scene is like legit. If this actually happened in real life, you'd be freaking the fuck out. Like,
oh yeah,
you know, And I would not want to go camping after that. I would want to
No.
get back to civilization. Like,
Oh, me
they pull
too.
up in front and go past where these people are intending on going, so obviously they're going to be following them. So, but I'm also with you, Rebecca. If we ever have the money to take and make a remake of this, you know exactly who plays Rich in this, as you said.
Well, no, he wasn't the one that I thought. It's the other one, Gene.
Really?
Every time he would look with his eyes. Okay, so here's a shout out to our friend Drewski McGillicuddy.
McGillicuddy.
So Gene in this, who's a little bit more of the straight man of the hillbillies, there was a point where he killed somebody. And I was like, oh my God, like the look on his face. I'm like, he looks like Drewski. And then like the next time he had like quote unquote crazy eyes. I was like, Jesus Christ, that looks like Drewski again. To the point where this guy in my notes is Drewski. So, Drewski, you're going to have to watch this movie.
He does look like him, but I think that he would probably play a better Rich
He would be a better Rich, yes.
Yeah, because just the random shit that he said, and like just, oh God. Rich really made this movie for me. Like, his lines are fantastic. And almost all improv, evidently.
Yeah. But yeah, so they get out. They got a knife. They're all he wants to do is get laid. The blonde one, she's got nice tits.
And the response, like when the guy with the glasses comes out in the back, he says "fuck you," and then he just lingers looking at him.
I know,
and then slowly slinks back into the back seat. It's
right when he's like, "Okay, so you're gonna fight them, right, John?"
Oh.
But then they only do this one time in the movie, and I find it's odd. It's funny, but it's odd. When the hillbillies like stop and they get out of the car, we've got like that weird like sitcom audience sound. Did you guys notice that?
No.
Yeah, it's like
I've noticed that.
Like almost like the wah, wah, the sound like, that, not that sound, but the sound like a sitcom audience would make when there was a wah wah moment.
Yeah, and there's some kind of weird moments, like in certain moments of drama later on in the film, it just kind of had a weird like sitcom kind of feel to it, and I'm curious to now take and check and see if I remember correctly, the guy with the glasses, what was his name? Yeah, Christopher Granger, if he was involved with Wood Chipper too, because I wouldn't be surprised, because it sounds pretty similar.
I'll look that up. But my other favorite little line, and I think it even was in the quotes in IMDb, is when Rich looks at, I think he's looking at not Amy, but Carrie, and he goes, you suck my cock and I'll lick your pussy.
I was partial to him calling her a tight ass bitch.
Yeah.
And then when she takes and comes back, she says, "Why don't you suck each other off, you sick fuck?"
Yeah, because that's what you want to do, is you want to continue to say things to the hillbillies who are threatening you that might piss them off even more.
Yes. It just, it's like that camp out would have been like just completely done at that point for me. I would have just backed that shit up and gone back to the city and had some beers at a bar or something. That would have been the end of it.
Like,
you already got that story about the missing family or whatever that guy made up.
Right. Whether it's fabricated or not, they don't know it. And I mean, once that car stops and those guys are getting out, you just put it in reverse until you find a place where you can turn around. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and your weekend is over, you go back, you rent a hotel room, and y'all get horribly drunk, and you laugh about the hillbillies that threatened you.
and you don't fucking die. So...
So then they're like, don't worry, there'll be others, and it's like, really? Because it doesn't look like this is the kind of place there'd be a whole lot of others, but that's okay. You have your optimism, boys. But they end up going to the smokehouse, and we got Joe, who is our Evel Knievel Harry Warden mask and helmet wearing dude, and he's cooking on this huge barbecue, which is really cool. It's like a big old barbecue pit, with the most random shit ever. Like, and I always thought that when I was young, like it was creepy because everything was random. But it come to find out, he had told everybody, just bring whatever, like, you know, somewhat creepy or Halloween stuff or whatever you've got. Just bring it. We'll figure out where to put it. So we've got like that, the Halloween, like the actual Halloween mask with like a raincoat and it looks like a wig. Later we find out it's a scalp. We've got we got candles. Go ahead.
Oh, I said I was curious if they were actually going for that to be actual body, or if that was just kind of just decoration with the dummy with the mask on, because it's just really weird.
Later, he taunts Amy with Carrie with it's a bloody scalp. Yeah, he's got it late. Gene's got it later, and he's hanging it out the window, and it's all bloody and stuff. So,
yeah, hey Santa.
Yeah, apparently Santa was just there. This was like some random spot he found, and it was like this cool barbecue thing. It was all that whole area. We'll talk about the whole area where this was filmed, but he was like, I don't know where the Santa came from. It was just there, which is so random.
And it just looks like they just like took and scotch taped a knife in its hand.
They probably did. But no, the location of this movie is one of the things that makes this so awesome. It was like, you know, felt very isolated. You had 2 or 3 abandoned buildings. There was even for God's sake, there was like a lean-to in this area. And like random, like at one point, there's just a shelf laying on the ground that she throws at him. And I'm pretty sure that was probably just there. Like this was apparently like the party spot for kids.
And an abandoned car, and just like it's
yeah.
Really,
the abandoned car is one of my favorites. It really adds a lot. Like, okay, another red flag.
Yeah. Right, because it's one thing if you see like a rusted out car or something, it's like, oh, somebody started working on this car and then they got bored and left it. But it was upside down. Mm-hmm. That's creepy as shit.
Yeah, and the area is really pretty too. It just had a beautiful area that they can shoot in. In addition, like just a nice contrast with all the spooky shit that is there with all the abandoned buildings.
Yeah. But okay, so I want to ask you, Maddie, have you ever gone camping, like tent camping, in front of an abandoned cabin?
Oh no.
Yes. I know that we all have a different like lens maybe than these kids, but what the fuck?
I mean, where did he even hear about this location to camp?
Yeah, they made it sound like, well, they make it even sound like they're going to like a place, a destination, right? Like almost like a party place. And it's like you're just going out in the middle of the woods in the creepiest fucking place ever.
Exactly.
Go get a campsite at like the state park.
Oh.
Exactly. Probably where they used to smoke weed back in high school or something.
My southern showing here.
Oh no! Ruh-roh.
Yeah, we had plenty of tire burnings around dilapidated trailers. So.
And okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's 2-1 on this one.
Of course it is. It's just redneck areas.
No, and don't get me wrong. I mean, it was so cool, but I mean, I just can't imagine like being like if there was a cabin out there where they were able to, like, it's abandoned and they're able to stay in it. I could see that, but they weren't using the cabins. I guess is kind of my thing. Like, what was the point of being in that particular place when you weren't using it for anything except for to put your cigarettes in there so that you could, you know, get yourself killed later?
Yeah, it's an entirely like, oh, hey, let's take and camp at the most spooky spot in the campgrounds, like just
yeah. It was odd, but whatever. But I will say I did a photo shoot in Kentucky Last weekend, I'm not too far from Slade.
It's just like Kentucky and just dilapidated shit go together like
Oh my God,
peanut butter and jelly.
It was the most bizarre thing, and like these photographers, like we're driving out there, and I'm like, okay, I'm with my sister in my car, we're following, and it's just like a very narrow road for like 5 to 10 miles, like one car, like we never saw another car. We get to this cabin that they have permission to shoot in. The front part is a cabin from the 1850s. And then there's another part of the house built onto the back. And it's been abandoned for 30 fucking years. And we go into this thing. There is one of those, I guess it was like an organ, like you would have in your house. Not like a big organ, but, like an electric piano almost like thing. That was like crushed down and like on the back porch. And the instruction manual was there. And in the cabin part, you go up these really narrow stairs. And there was like a bedroom. And there was a baby, like a bassinet, like an old bassinet. We're talking like 1950s kind of bassinet. And it was full of checks, canceled checks and mail. And the mail is just sitting there. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to grab a piece of mail. So I pick up this. It's like, you're pre-approved for a MasterCard. Like, open it up. And it's like, it's got the lady's name on it. It's like in the little fake card that they give you. It expires in 1971.
Oh my God.
Man.
They still gave those away in 1971.
I know. That was kind of my thing. I was like, man, that's kind of a long, yeah. But,
hold up a second, though. Like, you said that the organ was outside?
Well, I think that part may have been part of the house at one point and the roof was gone.
or like just some rich redneck just decided, hey, I want an organ in my front... my living room and got it halfway through and is like, fuck it, this is where it's staying.
I don't know. I guess what happened, it was a family home, and like the lady died, and then like it went to the family, and then like nobody really took ownership of it, and then it just got so far gone that they couldn't really do anything with it, and like for whatever reason, no one's torn it down. No one's tried to like fix it up, and I mean, and I'm looking at this and I'm like, this place would be completely destroyed in Indiana. Like if this were anywhere near where I live, and I live in a rural area, if this were anywhere near where I lived, it would be completely destroyed because so many people would be there like partying and just like
busting out windows and
yeah. Now there were no windows or doors, but I mean, it was like, I mean, the fact that there's still shit from like when this lady just like died and they just left the fucking house. It was bizarre.
Yeah, traditionally back in southeastern Kentucky, when a trailer is no longer fit to live in, it's either burned or left to rot, and its frame set as a testament to its history for
to American craftsmanship.
Yes, for 10, 15 years. So yeah, there's all kinds of.
I can honestly say now that I've put these two things together and Slade telling me about tire burn-ins, I think I understand the kids at Cannibal Campout a little more. Although this was like shot in like Connecticut or something. I mean,
Connecticut, New York, yeah.
Yeah,
I have all kinds of stories. Some of them not appropriate for the podcast, but yes.
Maybe Uncle Slade's stories.
Ask Brad about my stories sometime.
Oh, God.
I've told him quite a few.
Sure, they're colorful. But so they get there. So like you said, there's one road, one way. They just get in front of the car. So as if the car is not going to find them.
Yes.
But then even the hillbillies are surprised when they find them. Like, it's like, oh, whoa!
It's like, oh, wow, we were totally not going to come across you at some point.
No, and then he starts doing the "it's a small world" thing. And I was thinking, no, it's a small fucking place that you're at, hillbilly.
It's like, it was like some kind of Jerry Lewis, like, like thing where he just kept on saying, "It's a small world. It's a small world." Like for a solid minute.
Yeah, he was like counting, like he was trying to do like it's a small world after all, but he was like almost counting each time, like because he knew how many times he was supposed to do it before he said after all.
And
it's one of the best parts of the movie.
Oh yes, like it's so weird. It's so
exactly.
Weird. Hold up a sec. Can we talk about how shitty these people are at camping?
Oh well, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Because they pull out like a sleeping bag and a couple like next to fucking nothing.
And a grill. They do have a grill.
And on the way, are there any more sodas? No, I drank the last one. You don't see them have any water, beer, or anything. Nothing to drink. She drank the last beer. I mean, soda.
Yeah. Like, okay, so you're going out camping and you have no supplies, no nothing. Yes, exactly. Good point. Yes, they suck. They do suck. But so then we get that, like, this is where things really turn into, like, not laughable, but, like, they turn into, like, whoa, this is going to be batshit crazy. So you've got him doing the It's a Small World. And then you've got Joe over there, and he's just kind of clapping. And the other guy's picking his nose, and they're just talking about, like, they go to a flashback. Remember that at one time, that fun time we had that girl tied to a tree? They do that flashback? That was fucked up, man. And
yeah,
like that...
I was expecting something along the the same kind of tone, but then it just went straight to Darktown with it. It was like Last House on the Left shit. With
yes, and that's exactly what it reminded me of. Just how many times, like, there was, like, no music, how many times she would, like, fall in the leaves and, like, scramble, and they would just kind of, like, sit there and, like, laugh at her and before they'd go get her and everything. It did remind me a lot of that. But, yeah, at the end, like, Jean's like, just like Mama used to make.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Oh.
That was someday. And I like how the only point to this was, like, they're just sitting there looking at their next victims, and they're just standing there reminiscing about this.
It's like, this is going to be so good. We take our time.
Yeah. Yeah, so then the guys go away, and Carrie and Amy are stuck putting together this shitty-ass grill, which doesn't matter anyway, because do they have any food? They don't have any soda, as Maddie said.
Just drink creek water. It'll be fine.
It's okay. You know what? Them shits will go away in about a week or so. But of course, this is like, we've got the foreshadowing of like, but why are you so sad, Amy? Oh, I can't talk about it right now. And it's like, you just want to scream, she's pregnant. Did you not see the way she was during the dead baby joke? Oh. But then we have, this has got to be one of our ongoing things, because we've already had this several times. I believe we spoke about it at length in our last episode. But he finds, like, the bloody rags and rope. This would be Joe. And he smells them.
Oh, God. This is just such a pet peeve of mine in movies that just like, oh, this looks to be something that looks like blood. Let me touch it. Let me put it in my mouth.
Yeah.
Smell it.
And, okay, so let's break that down a little bit. Okay, you smell a piece of cloth that is soaked in berry juice. What does that smell like?
Oh, God.
It's probably going to smell quite delightful, isn't it?
It could be berries. So. It could be berry juice.
You're right.
You're right.
But just the fact that, like, if you smelled that and it was berry juice, it would be like, that would be the one thing you'd be able to say to your friend when the friend said it's berry juice. You'd be like, no, motherfucker, I smelled it. It was not berry juice. Like, unequivocally.
It smelled like despair and iron. Like, it just...
Sweat, tears,
Oh, God, I laughed out loud at it. It's, you're...
But yeah,
God.
yeah, so that's kind of, if we go to like when he's trying to tell Chris, let me see. Man, I didn't write any of them down, but he had like a million excuses. Well, maybe you imagined it. Maybe
Yeah.
it's this, maybe it's that,
He's
and then
doing
the
his
berry
best
juice, but the berry juice is the one that he's like, oh, yeah, I bet.
He's doing his best to console him, and it's just
It worked.
and he goes like, who the fuck, like, berry juice, like, just I don't know.
Yeah. Have you seen a berry bush in this entire forest? No.
Let's find it, because we don't have any fucking food.
We're going to be foraging berries pretty soon, but we got cigarettes. Yeah. So, yeah, that whole thing. Now, they were saying on the commentary, since it was Mark Polonia and John McBride, they were talking about Splatter Farm. There's a berry juice thing in that, and they were saying that they were filming their movies simultaneously. They ended up, and not only did they film kind of, I guess not similar movies, but two movies in the same realm, but they both had this whole idea of like blood, maybe it's berry juice in their movies without knowing each other, without knowing that their movies were being made.
I had forgotten about that. It's been a little bit since I watched Splatter.
Yeah, me too. It sounded familiar when they were talking about it, but I'm like, I'll have to go back and watch. But I thought that was kind of
I
funny.
adore Splatter Farm.
Huh?
I adore Splatter Farm. So
Yeah.
Oh, it's just it's hilariously depraved. It's just got so
like this movie.
Yes.
I mean, you get like with
say that
movies
about
like this, you have to stand out. So obviously they can afford to have take risks that other because they're just fucking around with it. So
Right.
Yeah.
And like we've said this before, like when we were talking about was it Metal Noir? No, it was when we were talking about video violence. I mean, how many Hollywood movies go to the last scene and your two protagonists are just dead?
Yep.
I mean, you can't do that unless you're doing a movie like this where you can take risks because you don't give a fuck.
yeah, and I mean with I've taken and seen some things like as far as people taking complaint about movies being predictable nowadays, and just taking see the same. But if you're not going out and supporting films that do take risks or independent films in general, if you're not taking and doing that, you're just taking and reinforcing this is that only thing that people will take and pay to see.
Yep.
So. And it annoys me.
And again, another soapbox we get on all the time. But then we have the two dumbasses that are hiking with the hockey mask. The one is that Ray guy in the beginning who told them about the family who died. But then, then he was like, oh, I had myself even scared when I'm telling him about it. Like it wasn't real. And I'm like...
In my notes, I've written down kid with bloody murder masks.
Yes.
As soon as I saw that mask for the first time, like rewatching this, I was like, "Bloody murder!" It looks just like it.
Yeah, but he's seen it. He's seen it in a movie, so maybe that's the movie he saw it in.
Not that one.
No, it reminded me though of they did the same thing in Sleepaway Camp 2, and I was wondering which one came first. If they did like.
Well, this one was shot in late 87,
still, I was going to say,
yeah.
and Sleepaway Camp 2 has a date of 88. I mean, I can't imagine that would have been an homage. But yeah, that weird-ass looking hockey mask. But that must have been what was available at, like, service merchandise in that time.
Yeah.
Probably.
Trying to be like Jason, but not exactly.
Yeah.
Either that or is like legit like type of mask that they took and used at sports back then. As far as because I think it's is it a goalie mask?
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah. So
it was just maybe that those masks, the ones that we're talking about, they went like more like towards the back of the person's head. Maybe that was more for like kids sports or something. Like kids hockey.
Oh, yeah.
As opposed to the more like flatter front, maybe that was more for the pros so that, because nobody cared if they got hit in the back of the head with a puck.
Exactly.
But Those protective face masks, those are for pussies. God.
These guys are really dedicated to taking and scaring their friends too, because they take in travel like hours by car and then walk hours up
Yes.
up into the mountains just to take and freak them out.
Right, for a prank. Yes, that is dedication. And they get halfway or something. I mean, they seem to be pretty desolate. And then realize, oh, I forgot the blood in the car. That's okay. I also forgot my mask. Like, you had one job. You were here for one fucking purpose.
How do you forget your outfit? I mean, that's the whole reason you're there. So, I can understand the blood, but...
And when he comes back, he doesn't have any blood with him.
No,
It
unless
seems like
it's just
if
little,
I
like, ketchup packets or something in his
Yeah,
pockets.
exactly.
Yeah. I noticed that, and never mind the fact that he's walked for so long, he sees this cabin and said, oh, this looks like a good place to stop. Like, does it? And why do you need to stop? Like, I didn't understand. Like, anyway. And you need to just try on your mask? Can't you do that next to a tree?
Just saying, oh, that's going to be awesome. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. His buddy, how he gets dispatched by Joe, I thought was pretty cool. The machete shot. They didn't linger on it very long.
Out of the floor, or is that later?
Which one?
He pops out of the floor at some point.
Yeah, he pops out of the floor with Ray when he comes back, but then Mullet Boy is waiting for Ray and sitting there still at that tree. Yeah, and he gets the machete in his face. It was a nice effect. Mm-hmm. But yeah, then when the other guy's sitting in that cabin, him popping, I'm going to admit, there are 2 times I jumped in this movie, and I've seen this movie before, not for a long time, but when he jumps out of the floor and grabs Ray, and he like hits him with the sledgehammer, that made me jump. I mean,
pretty amazing.
Cool. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
I was very surprised by the effects in this for the no budget that they had for it. Like they did, Joe did a really good job with it.
Yep.
Quite a good effective scenes.
So John and Carrie are walking. They hear Amy screaming, and of course, it's just a fake out. She sees a snake. Blah blah blah. But this is just one of those things because I love these because they're so endearing when I see these and hear these. But they were saying, do we need like warmer clothes or sleeping bag or something? And like the one girl's like, I don't know. Does it still get cold out at night? And you look around and it's clearly like late October. Like it is like balls deep into fall. Like, no, honey, it's gonna be cold at night. And it doesn't still, like, I know they're trying to make it seem like it's supposed to be like the end of, like, it's supposed to be like spring, where it's kind of warm during the day. Maybe it gets cold at night. I was like, good try, kids.
You can see different color leaves.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, well, there are leaves all over the ground. But yes, it's like you've got that like a beautiful fall like foliage thing going on. Oh my god.
If the killers didn't get them, the elements would.
Exactly, especially the girl in the Esprit Spirit Club t-shirt. Oh no, then this is exactly when I have, so the hillbilly comes through the floor with a sledgehammer, and that's where I put, oh my god, it looks like Drewski. So that was my first, like.
I don't know
he does
Drewski,
look dead on like him.
Awesome. And you got to think about that too. That had to have been like a one take kind of thing, because I mean that floor they actually broke the floor. I'd like to go back and look at that. Did either of you like listen to the commentary when he was talking about that gag?
I don't recall anything being really said too much about it. I remember when they were talking later about going under the house, like taking in doing numerous shots to make it seem like it's much longer than it was, but.
There were a few things I was disappointed in with the commentary, and that's why that's another reason why I didn't listen to all of it. Like, even when they're singing that song, they didn't talk about the song in the commentary. I would think that would be something you would talk about in the commentary. So I kind of gave up for things like that, because I figured they probably didn't say what was going on. But hey, you guys. Hey, you guys. Do you know what?
Chicken butt.
Amy's pregnant.
Oh shit! I had no idea.
I know.
Oh,
and they
we've
have
got
the most generic fucking "I'm pregnant" conversation ever. Like, it's just kind of like, well, how did that happen? Well,
I
you
wonder.
know how it happened.
we weren't careful enough, and they've got that like high school play music in the background. Like, just oh my god, I was just like, this is I can't take this serious at all.
And then, if you guys didn't remember, then he said, "Oh, so that's why you acted that way when I did that dead baby joke."
I was like, no shit, huh?
Oh shit! Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, that almost felt like filler. Like that was one of those drama moments we didn't need.
Yeah. Shot on video films don't do filler very well.
Right, and it's like 10 minutes of us going, yeah, you didn't know that? Yeah.
I still haven't recovered from the 3-hour director's cut of Boarding House. So.
Oh my god.
Good.
Okay, you guys talked about that on another show I listened to, and I also watched the director's cut before I watched the regular cut, and it fucking ruined it for me.
Oh, it's fucking. Oh god, man,
It's so long. It's like
it's
2.5
so
fucking
long.
hours. Excuse my
and it's
language.
just, and there's fucking nothing. There's just they're just sitting around like just sitting around the house. Just
Why?
The only redeeming fact, like I saw Boarding House for the first time as the director's cut because I thought, hey, I'm just gonna take and just see what the director.
Well, right,
no.
you might as well
I
watch
did
it
the
the way
same
it was
thing.
intended.
He's insane. No, I don't think I can. It's almost was such a bad experience for me. I don't know if I could revisit it. What do you think, Maddie?
I could never revisit the director's cut, and I've tried to revisit the regular cut, but I don't even think I've watched that because I'm so tainted by the director's cut.
My favorite part is the groundskeeper, and that's like in the iconic scene where he's making shit levitate. Of course, that's fantastic.
Oh, of course.
But like outside of that, it's just a whole lot of. It had so much filler. Oh god,
Yeah.
It was just pain. Pure pain. Jason took in this like. I remember when Jason told us that that's what our first episode should be, Rebecca.
Well, because it's the only shot on video movie he even knows of, but it's like
it's like
sweetheart, if
no,
that's
I'm
the
not
shot on
watching
video
that.
movie, no wonder you like poo on us for liking shot on video if that's the only one you've seen.
Oh god. No.
I'm gonna have to watch the regular version soon.
Yeah, we might have to cover it now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Force ourselves to watch it for that reason.
Sorry for derailing the train there,
Oh,
but
no.
I still.
Oh,
have
I'm glad I got to
fucking
talk about Boarding House Director's Cut and how fucking boring it is.
Maddie and I have PTSD from that shit. It's awful.
Yup.
It's so bad.
I would say I'm gonna have to watch it, but I'm thinking no.
I've got it.
Oh, yay.
I bought the DVD.
Oh my god.
Jesus.
Oh my god. And then this is probably the best improvised scene is when Rich is left behind and he's like got to be chopping up the body and he's talking to that head. And he's all like resentful because they're out having fun. Oh, well, I wanted to see the tits too, but who gets to see the tits? Joe gets to see the tits. I don't get to see the tits. Blah, blah, blah. And then after a while, this cracked me the fuck up. He's like, he cuts off the arm and then he looks at the watch on the arm and he goes, oh man, it's getting late. I wonder where they are.
And he's talking about Joe fucking the girls, and he's like, retard with his underwear on. Oh god, this just that's another one of my favorite scenes of the movie. It's just fucking hilarious. He really made this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Well, and John said that they didn't even know that he had any like improv skills until he got on set, and then just to let him run with shit because he was so good.
That's the
What was
best
he
thing
saying
to
about his
do.
mom while he was doing it? Like he's talking shit about his mom. Oh, he was taking it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
don't-
just.
I
It's
don't
so
remember what he was
weird.
saying about her though. Like,
I wish I'd written it down too because it made me
Yeah.
laugh out loud.
yeah,
Oh god.
that whole sequence is great. It's super awesome. In fact, I'm even gonna look it up here. Like, if Rich did anything else. Rich actually has a picture on IMDb. Oh hell yeah!
That's
Okay,
promising.
so he was in 2 episodes of 24 in 2005. Okay, he's had a pretty pretty decent little career. Like a lot of 1 episodes of different shows. Highway to Heaven. Jake and the
shit.
Fat Man. He was on 7 episodes of Saint Elsewhere.
Wow. I wonder
He
if he had any kind of formal acting training or if he was just riding the wave off of this.
Well, I don't know, but okay, so if you go back, he was in TV stuff from as early as 1979.
Oh.
Yeah, and he actually was in, in 85, he was in an Alfred Hitchcock Presents episode. He was in Enemy Mine, Deadly Friend. So he had a real
was in
career
Deadly
even
Friend.
before this.
Oh
Yeah.
wow, Deadly Friend.
Wow.
God. That's,
So he had there's not a whole lot on him. He doesn't have any trivia or anything, but I mean, yeah, he definitely had a career prior to this.
Wow, that's awesome. I wish I had taken a look that up now because I love Deadly Friend. That's a forgotten Craven
Yeah,
classic.
that's a good one.
It's been a while.
Yeah, I haven't seen
Basketballs.
it in a long time. The basketball is the only thing I ever remember. It's the only thing anybody ever really remembers.
Exactly.
No, I remember the ending. The ending was pretty memorable for me too.
I don't
because
remember
was
the
like, what
ending, so don't
fuck?
tell me.
Okay.
I need to rewatch it. I just
Yeah, I
remember
do-
she's a robot or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're sitting there, and Carrie goes off to go smoke, right? And so they're like, "Hey, get the radio," and then it's this long sequence of which bag is it in? It's in the blue one. Which pocket's it in? Blah blah blah, whatever. But they get the radio, and it's one of those tiny little transistor radios that basically, even if you turned it up as loud as it would go, it would be like this. And then all of a sudden, they turn it on, and you even hear that they've turned on the actual radio, and you can hear kind of the static from it. And then all of a sudden, once he finds the channel, it's blaring loud. It's WRIP radio. But I like how they said, "Well, what do you want to listen to?" And Amy's like, "I don't know, rock music." And he turns to this station, and it's a news story. And they just leave it on the news story when clearly the idea was to put music on.
Now
So-
playing the top 10 hit If.
Yeah. Come
That's
on.
what I was
leave-
gonna say. Should be playing their hit.
Right. They're like, just leave it there. They're going to play it. But did you guys listen to the news story?
Oh yeah, the cult.
Right. So yeah, these 3 men, in overalls, whatever, go and raid Manson's hardware store. And the owner, old Charlie, said it's probably just some kids belonging to a stupid cult or something. When you have to give Charlie Manson a shout out in your movie, hey, whatever. But then, we go back to Carrie, who's, smoking her cigarette and wandering around the cabin. And I think this is a super, super cool segment when, so she drops her lighter or something on the ground outside of the window.
Ashtray or something.
Oh, yeah, something. And she goes out there, and then they corner her against that house. I mean, and that whole sequence is really pretty terrifying. And the house is on stilts. Okay, so have you guys ever seen a house on stilts?
Yes.
I mean, I know they exist, but I'm just now, would you get under an abandoned house on stilts?
No.
No.
Is there beer involved?
Yes.
Oh, if there's beer involved.
Well, if the beer's under the house. Yeah. I mean, that's really, I mean, I understand that what's under our houses, what's under my house right now is probably not that much different than a house on stilts, right? You know, I
Or
mean, it's just...
Or raccoons.
No, that's my attic. Oh my God. Okay, I'll tell a story about that in a second. But like, it just seems precarious to like have a house where it's like you could just fall through the floor. But I guess theoretically you could fall through any floor and you just go in the crawl space.
Oh yeah.
But yes. So if anybody's been following me on Facebook, I have a raccoon in my attic. I'm pretty sure it's a raccoon. It's just by when it comes out, when it makes noise. It stays in the same place every time. I think I know where it's coming in and out of my attic. And I've gotten to the point where it clicks around like little claws, like it drives me crazy. And I've gotten to the point now I can yell, "Hey, settle down!" And you'll hear like a couple little clicks, and then you'll just hear like a thud, nothing more. My dogs, on the other hand, the other night I did that to the raccoon. My dogs are over there going, munching their butts, and I'm like, stop it. Stop it. And I'm like, oh my God, my raccoon is better behaved than my fucking pets.
They are pretty intelligent.
Oh my God. Yeah. And then last night, the raccoon was a little rambunctious, but I got him to settle down. And then I'm in my room. I sound like I live in a wildlife preserve. Because then there was a mouse in my piano. I know. I know. I have mice in my house. I live next to a field. I don't kill them unless they're like in my food. So I let them kind of run around or do whatever. But if they get into the piano, like they hit like the strings and stuff. It makes
How
so
often
much
are they in your food that you have to kill them?
Well, you know what?
That's my main question.
Well, no. This year I've been really lucky. My garage and my kitchen share a wall. And so they come in that way, and then a lot of times then they want to, like, they'll not get into my food. They get into, like, my silverware drawer, that kind of stuff. If I see poop where I eat, I'm like, nope, traps are getting set, you know?
Yeah.
Like, as long as you stay away from where I eat, you can live in my home, whatever. And this year, for whatever reason, the mice even seem better behaved than my dogs.
Well, you got Snickers taking poops in your drawer.
No, but she pees by the door all the time like she's a freaking puppy or she's an incontinent senior, and it's like, no, oh my God. Oh. Anyway, so if anybody wants 2 dumb dogs, I'll give you those, and I'll keep the mice and the raccoons. Okay, wildlife talk with Rebecca.
Oh.
Yeah. But no, yeah, so they chase Carrie around under the house. It's really pretty cool. I have here, Drewski cuts her throat. But, I mean, they've got her cornered against that house and stuff, and it just, like, a couple different times, and it's like, it's pretty terrifying. Like, I like that. That looked great.
Yeah.
And that's when the blood splashes right on Joe's mask.
Oh, my God. That scene, like, I can just imagine on the other side of the camera, just somebody holding, like, a coffee cup full of Caro syrup and just like, it's like 3, 2, 1, and then just throws it right in his face.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah. And it's like, ooh, that didn't look right. No, they probably never did a second take at all in this movie, I would guess.
Oh, that reminds me where they're talking Gene's character, Drewski's character, like where they just like leave the blood splatter on your overalls and everything. Just don't wash your clothes.
Why?
And that way you can have some continuity. And then he'd take his overalls home, and there's just, his mom would take and find them and take and wash them and wonder why he got mad at him.
Yes.
I thought that was great.
Yeah. But then after the blood splashes on Joe's mask, this is one of like the only fourth wall kind of things. But Drewski looks at the camera and he goes, "Soup's on." Actually, I gave him a little bit more of a hillbilly accent than he has. Like, did you notice that Gene seemed like he belonged more with the kids than the hillbilly family? Like, he would just, like, he never really had a hillbilly accent. Maybe every once in a while. But he was, like, clean cut. He was kind of handsome. He wasn't, like, he wasn't all...
he was very much the Mo of the... of the trio.
Yes. You gotta have a mo. Right, they can't. Okay, so they can't find Carrie. The kids go look for her, and of course they have to split up. I mean, why not?
What a great idea!
Exactly, it's always the best idea.
Oh,
kids.
I love what they say too. It's if we get lost, we'll meet back here.
Yeah, okay.
It's like if you're fucking lost, you
Lost,
know where
you're
the
lost.
Yes.
I do like the shot, like as John's walking and he's like yelling for Carrie. He walks right past that tree. He's not looking at the tree, but he walks right past it, and it's got blood all over it. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But then he does find real brain matter or some shit, and he goes, "Well, that sure as hell isn't berries."
Yeah, I love it.
Yes. Good for you, John. You finally figured it out. You actually had to have brain matter to figure out that it wasn't berries.
Took them long enough.
No shit.
In our movie, I think it's ketchup, but should have
Hey.
been berry juice.
Yeah, berries. You're going to have to go back and edit that. There you go. There's some ADR. Like,
They'll quite obviously say ketchup, and they'll be berries.
berries. Yes.
This looks like berries.
Yes. In somebody else's voice. Like, not the person even who says
Of
it.
course.
Preferably Chinese.
Yes. Well, I was just going to say, like, it's like the USA, like, edit of, like, you know, of movies where it's like, you are a stupid mother dinger. You know?
You just got that pause before they
Yeah.
take them and have they
Right.
insert it in.
Yeah, and it's like, in those, they always want it so much to look like the lips are moving with it that they pick something that is just so insane that no one would ever say it. Like, it's just better if you just, like, bleeped it even, or just said jerk and the lips said motherfucker. You know, but they always have to, like, pick the dumbest shit.
I agree with that, but I would prefer them doing something rather than some of those movies, they would just have like it would pause. It like they completely cut it out, and you're just waiting. You're like, what?
You know, and you're not fooling any 10-year-olds. I'm sorry.
I saw the Principal, the movie with John Belushi on cable many years ago, and I think he says motherfucker to the guy or something, but instead he says warthog. Like, what?
Well, okay, they were mixing the two different techniques there. Oh my god. So yeah, John and Chris, they actually run into each other, and they're like, okay, let's go back and find Amy, because, you know, we're not finding Carrie, and the hillbillies find them. And I didn't look to see if this was, but it had to have been where Rich is just getting into John's face and going, say Gumby. And I couldn't understand what he was even saying. They said, say gump, say gum, whatever. And he's like, say Gumby. And he's like, Gumby. And then he pokes him, Pokey!
Pokey. I love that. Any kids that grew up in the 80s, like watching Gumby, you can get that.
I loved Gumby.
Well, and that was even more like 60s, and then like we watched it like because we had shit TV in the 80s.
God. Yes,
so, like,
they rehashed
that's
so much.
So that would be totally probably lost on a lot of people now.
I grew up on Gumby the movie, FYI.
Oh, okay.
Whatever year that movie was.
I was going to say, like, what year was that?
I don't know.
I mean, here,
and
we're
not,
looking at this.
And not, I'm Gumby, damn it.
Gumby the movie was from 1995. Wow.
Oh, see? So that works for me. I was born in 88.
Okay. And there actually was a cartoon, Gumby Adventures, from 88 to 2002. That's a pretty long run. So,
yeah.
Okay. I guess Gumby had a resurgence that I just was unaware of.
Exactly.
So this is where shit gets crazy. So this is kind of like where we get our payoff for this whole movie. Where now they've got all three of them. They're like, they're going to tie them up, you know, whatever. They tie them up, and then He just flat out stabs John in the stomach. Basically, like, pokes a hole in his gut. And they just start eating him. And it is glorious. And this is probably the shot, like, I mean, this is kind of like the sequence that I think most people would recognize from this movie. Do you guys agree?
Like that and the one of the ones to come being the two.
Yes. So, I know what you're talking about. But yeah, they're all three just kind of like, they're getting down there and they're just grabbing shit out of him and just eating him. And they keep focusing on his gut, and it looks really good. Even now,
it does.
I think.
The items don't really necessarily look like anything that would come out of a human being, though. And I seem to remember John talking about, like, they running out of, things to use for guts, so they went to one of their houses and grabbed hot dogs and whatever they had in the refrigerator, legit, and just took and shoved it in that chest cavity to take and pull out.
Hey. It looked good to me.
Sick from it.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Ugh. But yeah, that was pretty cool. And then this is creepy as shit. And I wonder if he improvised this. But when Rich is like smelling at Amy, and he's like, "You look hot, and you smell hot." And then she's got a bun in the oven. All that does is like sweeten the deal for them, is by them going, "Well, she's pregnant," like, duh.
Yeah.
Like, do you think these motherfuckers are gonna care? That means she's got like dinner and dessert. You just like
he literally made it worse by saying that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you just like made her like tantalizing.
And poor Christopher comes to her defense, and then, well.
Well, he does, but he's really just annoying. I probably would have done the same thing. He won't shut the fuck up, so Rich had to cuss his Because, I mean, he just keeps saying, "You're lucky I'm tied up." And it's like, no, you're a dork anyway.
You're trying to stay alive, and you're doing the opposite of that right now.
Exactly. Just shut the fuck up. I was kind of surprised that they didn't have Amy going, "Shut up," because I mean, like any like normal person would know all you're doing is pissing him off. But yeah, so now we've got both. I mean, and this is within, I think all this stuff happens basically within the last like 10, 15 minutes. I mean, shit goes crazy like fast.
Yeah, super fast.
Yeah, so we've got John's gone, Chris is gone, but then I don't know what the fuck the point was of Rich going, "Okay," and he's trying to untie her and, and take her to the smokehouse or whatever, but he's like, "Here, I'm going to put this right here," just puts the knife in her pocket.
Oh, I thought that was great. Like, he's so confident in it.
Yeah,
and an idiot that...
Yeah, like, I mean, he's just like, "Okay, here you go," and then he unties her. It's like, "Are you an idiot?" But, well, yes, he is. But yeah, like, so yeah, she goes to yet another wonderful structure in this area, the lean-to. So this had, like, if you noticed, it had like a lot of graffiti. Obviously, none of this stuff was built. They said all of it was out there or whatever. I mean, this is the place that if I were in high school, like, we would have gone to go drinking, for sure.
Yeah.
But there are there are 2 or 3 nasty pillows laying there, and she uses those to kind of like block the view of, I guess, the direction she thinks he's coming from. But, like, one of them just looks like somebody took a shit on it or whatever. I wonder if those pillows were actually there and they used them.
I would imagine so. Like, they probably just showed up and they were just there.
Ugh. Yeah, that one, I mean, it literally looked like somebody took a shit or something on it. It's disgusting. Oh, God. But she doesn't necessarily do the smartest thing, but I mean, she's got a decent idea. But it's like, she sits against the wall, with her back against the wall, with her little, with her bottle. Why do people always back up against walls?
I guess for security, the you can't be attacked from behind, but
you always get attacked. Right, you always get attacked from behind when you do that.
To rest their back.
Huh?
To rest their back.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Yeah, so they can look up and, like, breathe heavily against something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it always drives me nuts when I see that, but whatever. Okay, and here's the second part where I jumped. So Joe, like, is gone. Or no, it's not Joe. Rich is, like, looking after her, right? At this point, he's still chasing after her. One of them's chasing after her, and like, they walk away. And so she's like, okay. So she, like, sneaks out, and she's like, she looks around, everything's clear, and she walks. And then all of a sudden, Joe is, like, in a big pile of leaves, covered up, and he reaches out and grabs her ankle, and that made me jump.
It's always people jumping up from the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did he have time to bury
It's
himself
great.
in leaves?
It doesn't matter.
I know.
Maybe that's his hobby. I don't know. But yeah, like, yeah, that kind of freaked me out. But oh my god! And then we have, so then they catch her, and they try to decide, is it a boy, is it a girl? They punch her in the gut, and Rich says, "I always said I should be a pediatrician." And I think this is probably the scene you were talking about, right, you guys?
Yeah,
Of, like,
Iconic, yeah.
Yeah, the anthropophagus style moment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they pull out the fetus and start smelling it. Smells like a girl. Like, oh my god. I mean, that's pretty fucked up. Again, shit you could not do in a mainstream movie.
No, not at all.
Yeah. I mean, and maybe that's that is definitely part of the reason I think that these movies were appealing to us as youngsters, because this is definitely the time when the MPAA was eviscerating anything that was mainstream.
Yeah.
I mean, mainstream was turning into just, like, stupid, lame-ass shit, and this stuff was all just flying right under the radar.
And we're a bunch of edgy teenagers eating that shit up.
Yeah. I guess I was more bored. I don't know, but yeah.
Sure.
No, I don't know. I just loved it. But yes, but then of course it's a womb with a view. Oh my god!
I love how her downfall is just her backing up against a log and just tripping, and it's just she's done.
Yeah, like, she's gone through all that. But again, all four of our protagonists have died. Well, I guess, really, okay, so our four protagonists, but then we also had the other two boys, right? So that's six people. 6 people, right?
Yeah.
And then they start talking about how they're not going to have enough food for the winter. They needed more than 6 people. How many people did they need?
How many, I can't imagine many people come camping there for them to attack. So how long has it been since they've had a meal before it?
Right.
I mean, they were kind of skinny, and you can only make so much human jerky, out of these waifs that come into the woods.
That is true, man.
I mean, because they had no way to preserve it aside from just making jerky out of them, or unless they were going to build up like bears and live on fat reserves.
Hey, they had a smokehouse. Come on. Oh my god. But yeah, I mean, I know this is all just so they could do, the big ending or whatever. But so Rich was bitching about, and Rich is bitching about he's hungry, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you've been eating, you just ate, you guys ate John. You fucking just ate him an hour ago.
John did indeed die at the end.
Yeah, oh, there you go.
I love that movie.
I do too. But yeah, but then, he's being annoying and like, what are we going to do for the winter? What are we going to do? And it's like, again, you're going to eat the 6 people, except minus the half a person you just ate, like, voraciously. But yeah, of course, then they turn on him, and he's going to be dinner. The end.
Can we talk about the Toxic Avenger type of mask that's underneath the mask?
Oh,
yeah.
We didn't even talk about that. Oh my god. Yeah.
It just like half melted, like just it like have normal hands, normal legs, but like just what brought about that particular face?
Yeah, because there's even some kind of pox looking type stuff, and maybe even like he looked somewhat lizardy. Like Maddie said, looked toxy.
Maybe advanced syphilis. I don't know. It's just I'm sorry. Yeah, I've been watching some British documentaries on like syphilis. Too.
Ew.
Yeah, you just like people taking and getting it at birth and stuff. Yeah, it's kind of fucked up.
Oh, man.
Good to
All
know.
right. And I love how you're snickering about it.
Well, I mean, it's just I'm just taking a look at that ridiculous rubber mask, and I think, oh, syphilis is just like, oh, no,
Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't sure. That might have been like the one kind of failing point of this movie, that maybe they should have gone for something a little more, burned or something, but whatever.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it.
It's like, where they're going to find nuclear fallout, waste shit there out in the middle of the woods.
That only affects one person's face.
Yeah, they do allude to a family throughout the film, so that's kind of, potential sequel bait there, but I don't think that this really ever had any kind of intention to have a sequel or anything like that.
Well, and as you said, John McBride even said there was no intention to distribute this. It was just, he was just making it, so definitely a sequel probably wasn't on his radar. But. All right, Maddie, what do you rate this? What say you?
I'd give it 4.
Okay, so what keeps it from being a 5?
I don't know. I think, the pacing's pretty good, but I think there's some times in the movie where I'm like, okay, let's just get on with it. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just
I
me,
had
though.
a few of those too. Second act kind of starts dragging.
Yes.
All right, what about you, Slade?
That's kind of hard too. I want to score this higher, but I would probably say I'm going to take and go for a 3.5 on this.
Ooh,
Yeah,
wow.
I'm still in your half
Man,
points.
nostalgia just didn't really do it for you, huh?
No, well, here's the thing with it. It's got a little bit of filler in it, and I outside of John, the whole cast of the rest of the teenagers, aside from the goons that come to try and scare them.
Molly and Ray.
Yeah, they weren't really all that fleshed out, and they just didn't really I just didn't care. It was just, and they didn't have really too many fun moments either, so they were just largely forgettable. And some of the gore scenes could have had a little bit more oomph to them, especially considering some of the subject matter that was involved. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one a whole lot, but if you would have asked me prior to the rewatching it again, I've seen this probably about, oh god, not counting the rentals, probably about 5 or 6 times. It just didn't do as much for me this time, I would say. And I also noticed a lot of weird things that I didn't notice before, just going off on something they had the zoom feature on it, and on the camcorder, and when I heard it in the commentary that they were talking about it, I couldn't unsee it whenever it was auto focusing.
Now there were a couple times where it was really obvious, but I didn't know that was why.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a fuck up.
It's autofocus on it. But I suggest anybody who's a fan of shot on video, this is a must to take and see. You'll enjoy it a lot. But I've seen this a lot, so 3.5, 4. So yeah.
Okay, for the same reasons that you guys said, except for I do disagree, Slade, that I do like the gore, and I like the whole eating the baby out of her womb and stuff. I thought that was kind of a cool place to go that a lot of people didn't. But it didn't have the goofy factor. Like I said, it is pretty legit, and in a way that hurts it in my SOV rating, I guess. So I'm gonna go with the 4 though. It's fun, but I I've seen this movie a lot of times, and yet I had to. This is usually a hallmark to me. I had to look up what everybody's names were. You know what I mean? Like, usually in these movies, I know the people's names. If I've seen them a million times, I might know the characters' names more than I know the kills. And in this one, I had no freaking clue because, like you said, they are very forgettable. So,
yeah. And I mean, I really enjoyed the score. Like, I really enjoyed the score and the sound effects to this too. I thought it was really well done. Damn it, I'm leaning back towards 4 now. Damn it, but
Just
yeah,
had to have that 0.5 off.
Yeah. I know. See, I'm the
there's
outlier
a world of difference. I don't know what it is in like my mind. Difference between a 3.5 and a 4. It just sounds.
I think a 0.5 rounds off to a 4.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
You're correct.
And our 3 on our scale is actually very good. So
Yes, that is true.
Oh.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
because we do use 0 as a rating. So yes, it really is a 6-point scale if you think about it. So yes, it is above average, but yeah, not the most fun one, but definitely a good one to watch and
essential viewing for fans. Specifically on like how it's just a staple of the movie store days and how many stores actually had a copy of this like hanging around.
You've got to round it up to a 4 just for the cover, if nothing else.
That's just some dude and some chick that are not.
And the dude is like eating the chick, but it almost looks like they're having sex too, you know? It's like, oh, this has got everything all in one.
Yeah, it blew my mind when I first saw that as a kid. Like when I pulled the box off, I was like, holy crap, they got gore on the cover. I didn't even know you were allowed to do that. Wow.
Okay, so here's the plan for so I am on my own, obviously, on both shows, this and In the Mic of Madness. I always have been the editor of both. I'm also starting a third podcast because I'm an idiot.
Uh-oh.
So, yes, I am starting a third podcast with a gentleman named Brad Farrell, and this is not a horror podcast. It is about sitcoms. So we bonded over sitcoms, and we are going to start a sitcom kaleidoscope podcast. So now I'm on 3 shows that I am editing. So what we'll try to do with this show is do this every 2 weeks, and I'll do In the Mic of Madness every 2 weeks. And so on this channel, we'll have content every week, and we'll toggle between. So what do we want to do in 2 weeks?
Trash
Can of Terror, if we can find it right.
Boarding House, the regular cut.
You know what would be the irony of that? We tend to talk about a movie longer than the movie itself. I think that might be the one where, like, we would talk about it like only about a quarter of the running time of the movie.
Of the director's cut, anyway. God. Oh. I don't know. Do we want to go for something obscure, or do we want to go for like a staple, like wood chipper or sledgehammer, or we want to go out into? Because we've done a couple of notable ones here lately. Do you want to step out get something?
Yeah, we can. Let's just We'll just figure it out. We'll talk amongst ourselves.
What about the bloody video horror that puked on my Aunt Gertrude?
Wait, what?
Oh, Jesus.
I don't know what we're talking about, but I'm
I've heard
intrigued.
of this, but I don't know if it's, as long as it's findable or you can get it to me, I'm cool.
Oh yeah.
Same here.
It's interesting. Well, we'll talk about it. We'll take and keep you guys informed on it, like what we're going to be.
Yeah. And of course, if you guys have any suggestions, put them in the comments.
Yeah.
Killer
sure.
Nerd. Killer Nerd.
Killer Nerd could be a good one too.
Oh, that's right. That's your fave.
My faves.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that and figure out. Oh, look, you can even rent that on Prime for 99¢. Wow, that's almost like legit that you can actually rent it.
If you didn't know, Toby Radloff makes an appearance in Spirit Animal.
Oh,
FYI.
cool. Well, that's cool.
Awesome.
That's going to be pretty awesome for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
right.
think Trauma's site might actually have it streaming for free on their YouTube page. They've got a lot of their older library up. They're great about that.
I think, okay, let's settle on it. It's Killer Nerd in 2 weeks.
It's Killer Nerd, 2 weeks.
Killer Nerd, motherfuckers.
There you go.
All right, and then this coming week, I will be back within the Mic of Madness with Jerry Cortez, Mr. Venom, and Mike Marion to do Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. So I'm getting very dangerously close to my kryptonite, Jason X.
I love Jason X.
Well, what do you think about Jason Goes to Hell?
Okay, Jason Goes to Hell. I've never hated it. I think it's a decent movie. I just don't feel like it's a Friday the 13th movie.
Right. That's my thing too. Is like I think it's a cool premise and cool ideas, and it's got a neat story and some cool gore in it. And the only reason I think people hate it's just because it's got Friday the 13th.
13th, yeah. It's so out of place. But yeah, Jason X is the only one that I'm gonna watch it from start to finish. I think Bill Casanelli has tagged that one as being the one he wants to be on because he loves that movie too. So I'm hoping that like my mind will be changed.
I'm apologist for Manhattan and that one.
Oh, I like Manhattan. But
what were you saying, Maddie?
I was just saying Jason X is fun, and I love Jason Goes to Hell.
Thank you. Yeah. Woo-hoo. We are agreed.
That used to be my favorite, but now my favorite's Final Chapter and Jason Lives, so...
There you go. 2 of my favorites, too.
Me
All
too.
right, guys. Well, we will stop rambling. You guys have a good night, and thank you for joining us on the SOBs Who
Love SOV.
Love SOV.
Woo.
Yeah. I like how Maddie said it with a question mark. Love SOV.
Do
Wanted
we?
to make sure I should be talking.
Yes, of course. Yes, please.
Yes.
It's like, do we like this? I'm not sure.
I think
we live torturing ourselves with it.
I think we do. So, good night, guys.
Good night.
Night.